my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Machine Shop Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Van Metre, and today I had a very candid and very, I'll call it humble, conversation with Adam Zimmer of Zimmer Manufacturing. And Adam grew up in machine shops. He worked at his cousin's shop when he was like 14 or 15 years old, worked as a tool and die maker for a little bit, moved to Austin wanting to be a professional musician as a bass player. But of course, as we know, that's probably even a harder business than machine shops. So he worked at machine shops on the side for a few years and then decided to open his own doors. So he actually bought a tiny little shop, a 2-person shop, well, really a 1-person shop by the time he took it over. So just by himself, couple machines. And today, about 3 years later, he has 9 machines, 11 people running on 3 shifts, which is amazing, and has grown something like 180% in those 3 years. So including 70% between 2023 and 2024. So he's doing a lot of things right. He's an open book. He's here to talk to us about how he builds culture, how he does his sales and marketing, or really mostly sales through just extensive networking in the community where he has a shop in Austin. Talks about how he finds good people, setting the vision, getting them motivated, giving them a lot of autonomy, building trust with them. And then he also has a business coach. So he is learning to work on his business, the financial side, not just using his bank account balance as a barometer about whether things are good or not. So a lot of great takeaways. Without further ado, let's go learn from Adam. Good, I guess, afternoon, Adam. Welcome to the Machine Shop Mastery Podcast.
Hey, Paul. Good to be here.
Yeah. So you have built quite a company. You're on a serious tear of growth. And it's been fun to just watch on LinkedIn and, get to know you a bit over the last couple of years. But I would love to have you share all your secrets of success.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least as much as you're willing. That doesn't give away too much to the quote unquote competition. But
I'm an open book,
and I love that about you. I love that about the people that have been on this podcast and just contributing back to the industry. So yeah, let's go back and talk about first how you got into machining in the first place, and then ultimately how Zimmer Manufacturing became a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about myself, right?
As does everybody, right?
Yeah, so I was born in 1993. I'll get that out of the way. So I'm 31 years old.
2 years after I graduated high school. Okay.
Yeah. I throw that in people's face. Throw that in people's face all the time.
So you're a full-on millennial. Yeah.
Yep. Born and raised in Missouri, and then moved to Austin, Texas about 10 years ago. But yeah, in Missouri, there's, like everywhere else, there's shops on every corner. That was my first job. I think I was about 14, getting dropped off at my cousin's machine shop, Spider Machine and Tool. Yeah.
That's cool.
I tell people all the time I was born into it. There's no getting out of it. So I'm manufacturing through and through. Also, in Missouri, I worked at a mold shop. So we did medium-sized die-cast molds.
Okay.
So kind of got the title there, tool maker for a little bit. Did a lot of disassembly and assembly of big molds, grinding, timing.
So were you doing machining in that capacity, or just like finishing work and?
Yeah, I was on the bench. Yeah, they would manually drill water lines. So I'd run the big radial arm drill press. Surface grinding.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great. That was a fun job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then I went to college. I got my associates in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
Kind of did all the really hard math classes, differential equations, all that. And then I decided, I don't want to be an engineer. Didn't want to be behind the desk. I like making things.
Yeah.
And simultaneously, I was playing music in a band, playing bass, guitar.
Okay.
So I was like, I got my associates. Let's move to Austin. Let's play some music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You want to be a professional musician?
Yeah. Like everybody else, right?
Okay.
Turns out it's really, really hard to make money being a musician. So,
yes.
And parallel, the whole time I was in the machine shop working my way up as manager and head programmer and things like that. So
at a shop in Austin now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was always my plan too.
Right, your day job that paid the
Yep.
bills.
Exactly.
Right.
It pays the bills for sure. It's a good trade to learn.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in the 10 years I've been in Austin, I hopped jobs a little bit, not too much. But I started meeting everybody in the area, everybody in the industry, knowing I wanted to start my own shop someday. So
yeah. At what age or where in this history did you decide that you wanted to start a shop?
I don't know, I'd probably say 5 years ago. Every shop I worked at, I was kind of maxing out my potential there, hitting responsibility caps or pay caps. Maybe work my way up to be a general manager somewhere. But yeah, kind of just tired of working hard, working a lot, and just getting a paycheck. Kind of wanted more.
Yeah.
And on my entrepreneur side, just wanted more. So
very cool.
That's kind of how I got to Austin. And then we got offered, I guess in 2020. I kind of bought some manual machines in my garage just because it was a good deal, and I liked metalworking. So got a few machines. Didn't really know what to make, so I started getting into cigars more. So I started making ashtrays, cigar stands.
I remember seeing some of those early posts on LinkedIn and whatever about those.
Yeah, I took that down just because we're getting, aerospace work now, trying to look professional. But no, there's actually a story to that. I wanted to, at a dye shop I was working at in Austin, I wanted to make, ashtrays and things on the side using the shop's equipment. So I was like, approached them, can I make these on the weekends, off hours? I'll pay a rental fee or whatever you want. I also had a laptop I worked from home with for programming.
Okay.
So I'd use that laptop, but I used my software, like SolidWorks, to design it all. So I went to my boss, asked him all this, and he sent me home for 3 days without pay. So
just for asking that question?
Yep.
What? Why?
So I don't know. I was shocked.
Seems short-sighted.
So I went home for 3 days and thought on it. And it's like, I'm going to put my 2 weeks in. Want to do that for a while. It's not a good fit. Not where I want to work. So that's when I started job hopping and kind of with the intent of starting my own business.
Well, that's a good lesson right there in and of itself for other leaders.
Yeah.
Support your team, especially the good ones, or else they're going to find their way out of your company.
Exactly. So I started my company with that intent. Be good with the employees. We have guys making their own stuff. Using laser engraver, 3D printer. I'm kind of open, trying to be the opposite of what I've faced. So
yeah. So did you sell those cigar accessories? Like, where you just made your own website? How did you sell those things?
Yeah, it's still on my website, just kind of hidden.
Okay. You need to know the special URL and type it right in.
It is. I think it's zimmermanufacturing.com/store, I think. So it's still up there. Yeah.
So you still make those things? Just
we do. Yeah. It's busy work.
Right.
We just talking about that new LB3000 that came in, live tooling subspindle.
Okay.
That's going to be the first job on there, I think, to figure out how to run it. Kind of learn how to use it.
There you go. So many shop people want to make their own products, but they just don't know where to start or how to do that. But that's cool that's how you started.
Right.
How did you start getting sales for those products, first of all?
That's very difficult. I don't like that side of the business at all. So just a lot of the business came from just resellers.
Oh, so you would reach out to resellers and say, hey, I got these products. Would you be willing to carry them?
Yeah. So that's like, 50% margin for them, but larger quantity for me. So, and again, it was kind of a hobby thing, kind of start getting business mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. And so you had some manual machines, you're making stuff. And then when did you take that leap into CNC and to really, going for it as a contract manufacturer? Yeah,
so 2020, I was piddling around, and then 2021, a small shop right by my house, walking distance, came to me and offered to sell it because it was probably a 2-man shop at the time.
Okay.
3,000 square feet, 5 machines, kind of give you an idea. But his head guy was leaving, and he wanted to downsize or get out of it. So he was like, hey, do you want to buy this place? And he really just offered me, a good price for machines and gave me the customers and kind of an easy yes on my end.
Did he carry the term to financing on it, or?
Yeah, I got private financing to foot the bill.
Got it. Nice.
And then, I remember, I told you this before, I used their forklift down the road to carry all my manual machines to the shop for all the riggers to move. So we got some videos of us driving around the highway with not the highway, but some side roads with a forklift.
That's hilarious. So you moved your manual machines into their facility?
I did, just so the riggers could move it all at once. We moved immediately. Right when I took over, we moved to a nicer, bigger building.
Got it.
With the attentions to Crow. So
right. Okay.
Yep.
And that was in 21.
Yep, 2021, end of 2021. So just celebrated 3 years in owning a real business, I guess you would say.
But yeah.
In a bigger shop.
It's a real business. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the first 3 years. Obviously, it came with a customer list, so that was nice. So you probably went and visited, talked with, got to personally know those customers and grow those accounts, or?
Yeah, when we were in the talks of me taking over, I worked there for a few months, kind of got familiar with the customers. It was a lot of semiconductor work, kind of prototype semiconductor work. And I was able to grow that customer base. I was doing actually in my garage some gun manufacturing prototype stuff on the lathe. So I was able to kind of grow the gun manufacturing side.
Got it.
And then recently we became AS9100. So really trying to grow aerospace.
Sure.
And then data center industry is really blowing up around here.
Yeah, we're actually talking about doing a podcast on making chips, specifically about the data center, manufacturing supply chain.
Yeah. It's huge. And it's not going away. So we're going to ride that train.
So I'm just curious to ask, that few months that you worked for him before you bought it, was that kind of a due diligence period for you to really try to understand what you were getting yourself into before you fully agreed? Or did you already have an agreement or just a handshake in place while you worked there?
Yeah, it's pretty informal. I knew the previous shop owner, so it was just due diligence. The deal was already final. Part of the deal was that lease was ending in 2 months. So we basically had to talk about it, sign an agreement, and I just started moving all the machines within 2 months. So that was
a busy time.
Yeah. But it all worked out. I don't know how, and then simultaneously, my firstborn was being born. So.
That's right. Which you would not recommend having a newborn starting a machine shop.
But there's no good time to do either one.
Sure.
But it's kind of happened to work out.
Yeah, you've made it through. You're still smiling. So
yeah.
Yeah, on Manufacturing Transformed, which you were on recently, you talked about the importance of sort of, I'll call it, the work-life balance, right? You can't be an absent father for your new child, and certainly want to be there for your spouse. And I'm glad you just mentioned that, because it's an important thing that I know some people have regret about years later when they didn't prioritize that. So
we're definitely putting some hours in, but 50 hours a week, try to limit it to that. And then try to spend as much time.
That's not insane.
Yeah, it's actually I think it's pretty good for starting a business. So
absolutely,
I hear stories of people working way more than that.
Yeah, no doubt. So besides the growing those accounts, the gun manufacturing, which you already had with your own manual work, the semiconductor, tell us how you found new customers in the most recent couple of years.
Yeah, the new ones would be, it's really just networking. We're part of ARMA, which is Austin Regional Manufacturing Association.
Okay.
And I'm sure every city has something like that. But it's just all the local manufacturers get together for networking events. And I do a lot of shop tours. So I play the underdog card a lot.
So you give tours or you go visit other shops?
Both, but mainly I'll try to talk to the higher ups at other larger shops and just kind of walk the floor, get talking with them. And that's 90% of the time they'll start sending quotes.
Really?
Making friends. Of course, I had 10 years in the area already, so I kind of knew a lot of people already.
Is that work mostly offload work, or some of those companies you're visiting, are they the OEMs themselves that have internal shops?
Probably 50-50. A lot of it's offload work.
Got it.
And then working with a lot of startups and smaller companies for OEM stuff.
Are they also part of ARMA, or are those other relationships through other types of networking that you're doing?
Yeah, I guess Arma is kind of more of a vendor type of deal. But I'm trying to get the customers on board. I tell them too, it's a good networking for you if you're looking for, don't look for any other machine shops, right? But looking for welding or sheet metal or things like that. So,
got it. I've definitely had other guests that said that networking at small conferences, at regional events, has definitely been a crucial part of their growth.
Right.
Because people want to work with people they know and trust and like, and you build a personal relationship with a buyer or an engineer at a company, and they're like, yeah, let me throw you an RFQ for this. So
exactly. Yeah, just learn how to play golf and you're golden.
Learn how to play. That's something I've never learned yet. I really need to.
Me neither. But
to do that.
Yeah, that works. Just word of mouth. I say I got 2 ears and one mouth, so use them respectively. Just sit there and listen and kind of pick up on what everybody needs and wants and try to fill that gap.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good one. How have you hired your team? How many folks you're up to now? Yeah, give us a snapshot of what Zimmer looks like just like today.
Yeah. So over the 3 years, we've got 8,000 square feet, 9 machines, and 11 employees on payroll.
Okay.
Started from 1. So, but yeah, lots of growth. Hiring's been pretty good. My first hires were just all, friends or people I've worked with. Unfortunately, I guess the word you would use is poached from other shops. But
okay,
I kind of knew them. I knew they were the standout on the crowd. So then, I have to talk to them. Easy conversation. Would you be interested in coming over here and helping me, grow this business? And that was a pretty easy yes for a lot of them.
Got it.
I jumped on Indeed and stuff like that. A few random hires. I think I've hired 15 people, and only, I guess, 4 have moved on.
Got it.
Out of 15. Okay. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a perfect segue. How do you retain your team? I mean, you talked about supporting them if they want to do little side projects and stuff. But yeah, what's the culture like? Why do people stick around and keep working for Zimmer?
Yeah, I kind of give them a lot of freedoms. Pretty much everybody here has a key to the shop. So it's, come and go when you want, just get the job done. I'm very open to teaching and learning. A lot of people aren't coming in that experienced. So I, train them how to become a programmer or run new. We just got a horizontal pallet pool and a live tooling lathe. Nobody here has run that. So we just kind of get in there and learn how to do it.
Got it.
Definitely higher attitude over experience.
But. Yeah, I think that's almost a must do these days, with as few people as there are coming into the industry, or just the good ones, are in jobs they want to stick in. How do you balance safety and, not crashing machines with having everyone have a key to the shop?
Just good hires, really. I mean, a lot of trust. Going back to being a father, I kind of have to delegate, and if I don't trust others to grow the shop and learn, then it's not gonna grow. So yeah, it's a lot of trust. There's been a couple crashes here and there, but we're buying Akuma machines. They're pretty stout. And but a lot of people now are programming their own programs and running them. We're kind of transitioning and into having a programmer setup guy situation. Got it.
On the delegation piece, I feel like that is a skill that not everyone is born with. Some people develop it, others don't ever.
Right.
Tell us about how you got good at that, or if you think you're good at that, which I'm guessing you probably are. But was that an intentional process of learning and reading and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, or did it come more naturally?
I think it was a mix of hearing people talk about delegation and past experiences. So when I was a manager at other shops, I wasn't married or had kids. It was just, work all day long. So I think I was probably a pain in the butt to work for. I was very particular, just a kind of a micromanager type of manager. I didn't really realize that until now. I own my business and I truly am responsible for all the employees. Kind of the more laid back now. I don't want to look over somebody's shoulder. That's why I hired you. You need to figure it out and do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions, come let me know. But yeah, that's why you're here. And then being a father kind of forces me into that corner of I can't be here all 3 shifts. You got to delegate so I can somewhat enjoy my time off and kind of turn work off for a bit.
Yeah. So, like my radar just you just said 3 shifts. Like, wait a minute, screech! Like, back up.
Right.
So you got 11 people, 9 machines, and you're running 3 shifts already.
Yeah, we are, I guess, short-staffed. We got a lot of machines and trying to train people to match those machines.
Okay.
But again, with the data center coming through, it's pretty good production type of work.
Got it.
So with the right work, we can just hire a weekend and night shift guy and kind of keep machines going.
So just like 1 or 2 people on those shifts?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I know you have, now you must have 2 horizontals, right? One was just a 2 pallet and your new one is a multi-pallet system?
No, just the 1 pallet pool horizontal.
Oh, okay. So the 2 machines you just got, one's the multi-spindle lathe.
And the other was just a vertical mill.
Got it. Okay. Yep. Got it. Okay. So you must be investing in automation. I mean, besides the pallet pool, which is clearly somewhat automated. Yeah. What other automations are you doing to try to keep spindle time high?
Yeah, the pallet pool really woke me up to automation. I would recommend a pallet pool to anybody. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Our lathe department is pretty limited, and there's a lot of round pieces in aerospace. So, and in gun manufacturing as well. So we're gonna just got this week on the floor an LB3000 MYW 800. So we got sub spindle, live tooling, Y-axis, and kind of just jumping into it. We got a new guy.
You have a bar feeder on that?
Not yet. We'll probably add that when the time comes.
Yeah.
But we're gonna learn how to use that thing and hopefully run round parts and square parts overnight. So
sure. Yeah. I imagine being in the area, Nathan Byman from Wolfram.
Yes, I've been through his facility.
They make a lot of non-round parts on lathes.
Yeah, I think you're doing well, and then you walk into his shop, and it's like, man, I have a long way to go.
Yeah,
he's doing some really cool stuff over there. Same with John Newman at Athena.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, both of those guys have been very supportive, and I've heard them on this podcast as well. So
yeah,
kind of honored when you asked me to get on here.
Well, you're doing great things, and I think it's very relatable because there's just so many small startup shops, that want to hear the backstory and kind of compare notes, and So yeah, I think your story is super relatable and inspiring. So that's why we're sitting here doing this right now.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So 3, okay, yeah. I mean, because 3 shifts is not something that most shops, I think, do in the first 3 years of business, right? It's usually a few years in. I'm guessing it's the combination of the volume of work that you're finding, right? Where it's not just one-off parts. You have some volume, so you get some just running machines for hours and hours and hours.
I've heard all the horror stories of multiple shifts. I'm sure everybody has, and it goes back to just hiring the right people. They're experienced guys. They're not, cheap setup or button pusher type of people.
Mm-hmm.
So they know what they're doing. And the type of work is a big factor. If you're running the same part all day long, it's pretty easy transition. We make sure we have all of our tie-in sheets and setup sheets in line. Cross your fingers, more or less. But
right,
that's been going well.
So let's dig in a minute, if you will, on your hiring process.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find good people? Like, how do you, hiring for the cultural fit, for their attitude and aptitude more than the skills? Obviously, you said the skills are important because they're experienced people. They need to be able to, kind of run and keep things going on their own on these off shifts in particular. So being a judge of character and cultural fit is hard sometimes, right? Someone's putting on their best, they're putting their best foot forward when they're in an interview. And, but, sometimes I certainly know at our shop, we sometimes made some bad decisions and hired people that really were not a good fit.
Right.
How have you had success in doing that?
I don't think I realized it until recently, but a lot of the hires, I'd say 50% or more of my current hires, they would come on part-time at first.
Okay.
So it'd be, 20 hours a week or 1 day a week or something like that, which I would highly recommend. I didn't realize it until now, but you have that initial interview, initial questionnaire, um, and then kind of pull the trigger. You want to come on once a week. A lot of machinists would have like Fridays off if the shop's slow, so they would come in here, or come in on the weekends, and keep running. So that is a good, twofold there. It's a good test to see if they can do what they say, see if they fit in, and then once you do pull the trigger full time, they can hit the ground running, already knowing what they're doing. So
yeah,
if you can, I don't know if it's the easiest thing, but if you can, start them part time if they're open to that, and then pull the trigger on full time.
Yeah, it's a good strategy. You mentioned questionnaire. Can you describe do you have a test? Is it just written? Is it practical? You have them like set up apart, or what do you do to test their skills?
Yeah, it's nothing really practical. So I work with a business coach through Action Coach, and they pretty much provided this questionnaire. It's more of a personality test.
Oh, cool.
We also do disc assessments on everyone.
Oh, really? Before you hire them, or through the interview process, or once you hire them?
Once we hire them, so we they kind of know how we work, and I kind of know how to manage them a little better.
Can you describe DISC for those that don't know what that is?
Very poorly, yeah. But it's really just a personality test. There's 4 categories. I'm blanking on. You might know, but
they're DISC.
The DISC, yeah. Yep. There's 4 different types of people and how they operate. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of the highly analytical people here, so it's good to know.
Yeah, we did DISC at Pro CNC.
Okay.
At some point in our growth, we decided to start doing that, and it was really insightful to understand, the strengths of different people, how they, because it goes into like communication styles and all sorts of things. So
you learned a lot about yourself too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you a D?
I am.
So am I. I think
everyone is.
I think many entrepreneurs are Ds.
Yeah, high
but
D.
Certainly not all of them. Very cool. That's awesome. That's helpful. The part-time idea, I think, is super smart. It's like a courting period. You're not fully married yet. Just see how it goes. See if you guys get along. See if their skill set is as good as they said it was.
Mm-hmm. And I think I got lucky though. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people aren't open to committing to a part-time job, but we do hire a younger crowd, so they aren't, they don't have to come in and provide for their family immediately or anything like that. So that might be part of the equation.
What is the average age of your folks out there?
I think it just got brought down again. I think it's like 30 years old or so is the average age. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Keep on keeping them happy, and you got a long run ahead of you.
Yeah. It's very much an employee market, so the employees can pick what they want to do and jump around pretty easily.
Sure.
So you gotta keep them happy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. How do you calibrate pay? Do you look at Indeed or some of the salary.com, or how do you know what's a good competitive rate to pay people?
Yeah, I haven't looked up online, actually. Probably should. But I knew just from previous jobs what I was getting paid, or other positions get paid, and then pretty much try to match or increase it, especially nowadays. Nobody can keep up with inflation and prices. So we'll do reviews every 6 months to try to give as much of a raise as I can every 6 months. And
got it.
If we have a good quarter, I'll give some bonuses. If not, we'll try again next quarter. But
got it. Yeah, I was just about to ask that. So bonuses, any kind of profit sharing, or?
No, I'm looking into that. Okay. I think I was listening to one of your podcasts. They had every benefit in the book. Yeah. I want to reach out to him and ask him what his kind of profit sharing looks like. But yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
And then I think a big thing with this upcoming, with the younger crowd coming up, they just want more time off, more freedoms. work from home half the week.
Got it.
So we're trying to offer more just vacation time and more, responsibility to match.
So it's hard to allow a machinist to work from home part time. But
Right.
you're talking like overhead staff, programmers, and your office manager doesn't even live in the area, right?
Yeah, we hired her part time. She lived in Houston while we were in Austin, and then she finally moved out to Austin. So first year or so, she was remote, a remote office manager.
That's pretty cool.
And then, but all the office staff is hybrid. Our quality manager could be hybrid. You could be ballooning prints and making inspection plans at home. And we're discussing programmers can get a laptop and program from home. That's what I did. So that was nice.
Right. Yeah.
And again, a lot of trust with that, but try not to micromanage them. And I wouldn't be anywhere without good employees. So.
Yeah. So let's just talk about trust for a second longer. Besides giving them autonomy, what other ways do you build trust with your team? I'm guessing it's just a bit in who you are and how you show up.
It's just like, on a deeper level, just, not even a personality test, just how you talk to them, how they respond. And it's kind of a non-tangible quality they have or don't really.
Sure. Do you feel like having a vision that the team is working towards, is an important component of getting them excited and bought in to work at Zimmer?
I think so. I sell the culture and the vision pretty hard to everyone. Looking back, my employers never did that. They were just kind of, do steps 1, 2, and 3 and don't ask questions. If we change a process or start asking more of someone, like tracking time to a work order, that's a big one. I have to explain why we're doing that. If we keep losing money on this job and you hate doing this job, then let's get rid of this job. But we don't know that unless you clock time to that job. So just like any little decision I make, try to explain the big picture, and then it's usually received very well.
Yeah. So what is the vision that you paint for them?
Starting out, I wanted to, have a good work environment. They're here more than at home with their families. So I wanted some place that people want to come work. And I also want to get the latest and greatest toys, for lack of better words. I want the latest software and hardware, and I know the work we have to get that justifies that kind of equipment. So we're always pushing the boundary, always finding better ways to do things. I think that plays into employee retainment is give them a good challenge that they can accomplish, and just more rewarding than a big fat paycheck, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. With probably almost no exceptions, competitive pay is important because people have to buy eggs these days. But we're going for context. We're going through this bird flu thing, and eggs are $11 a dozen right now, which is ridiculous. Right. I saw a funny meme. Someone said, in the old days, we used to throw eggs at our enemies at their house and toilet paper.
Yeah, I used to toilet paper. Yeah. It's a rarity nowadays.
You'd go bankrupt trying to throw eggs at your enemies. But anyway, so pay is important. But if they're not excited, it's hard to pay them enough to show up.
Right. And you don't want to. You don't want to overpay somebody that doesn't want to be there. Nobody's going to win, so it's not a good fit.
Yeah. Got it. So give them the right amount of challenge, support them in achieving those challenges, set the vision of what the company is going for. Do you set revenue targets? We're going to be this big by this year. Do you share that with the team?
Yeah, I do internally. I'm still back and forth on being an open book about that.
Got it.
I don't see a downside. I've never been in that environment before.
Sure. Right.
And it's always awkward to talk about money, right? So
right.
I could see how it could backfire on you. I think I'm going to share our revenue, but I'm also going to share expenses to kind of.
Got it.
Yeah, we did, a few million, but it cost us a few million. So
yeah, undoubtedly.
So yeah.
So you're weighing that off with talking about it with your team right now. That's what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. But right now, they based on time alone, they can see how we're doing on a job, not necessarily a dollar amount. So
got it. We were pretty open book at our shop, so we would share
how'd
how
that
much.
go?
It was good. I think it really does help build that trust. We were there to grow that business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and my partners did not use it as a cash cow. Most of our employees had nicer cars than we drove, and so they could see we weren't just like milking all of their efforts for our own lifestyle. But so we're every month we would have an all team meeting, which was easy when it was 10 of us and harder when it was 75. But we'd find a spot in the shop to just to sit and talk and have a projector, and we'd show pretty much everything. What the revenue was this month, profit and loss, good jobs that went well, bad jobs that didn't go well, new initiatives, things, machines that were coming, new customers we just got, employee issues and topics. So yeah, it was. I think it helps to build that trust. It helps them. It helps to personalize, the owners, especially as you get big, and not everyone knows you the way that you knew the first people that were hired.
Correct.
They know that you're investing back into the business, investing in them. We did have profit sharing, so we would share, how much was being shared or not in a period if we had a tough sales period, which was hard on me because I was the one responsible for bringing enough work for these 75 families.
Yeah, I feel that pressure.
Oh yeah, that's a heavy load.
That's crazy.
That's a heavy load.
But yeah, you might have persuaded me off to start doing that, I think.
Easier way into it. But
yeah, I think so. So when you visited, we don't have a break room yet, so we got the card table out and we all sat around and ate pizza, right?
Yeah.
We still do that. We still do that once a month. We'll have to set up a table on the shop floor and all take an hour lunch and discuss how we did that month.
Yeah,
I'd recommend that for sure.
Yeah,
we'll have to get a conference room or next place, but
yeah. A lot of times it was out in the shop. We didn't have a conference room big enough to hold that many people, but
sure.
The other part I was going to say about that is, so we would actually using, since we had pretty good information for doing our job costing. Speaking of, tracking labor, we would also take, the top sort of 2 or 3 best jobs and maybe the top 2 or 3 worst jobs from that month, and we'd sort of dissect them and talk about it as a team. And one thing that I think is really important if someone decides to do that is to always bring, especially the ones, it's easy to celebrate the ones that was super profitable, and pat people on the back and, but the ones that are big losers, it's important to always bring it back to process.
Yeah.
Not
Don't
to point
blame anyone.
Not to point fingers at anyone in particular, right? If a setup went terribly long, what was the process that enabled that to go wrong, right? Did they not have the information they needed? Was it a job that I shouldn't have quoted on in the first place because it's just a bad fit for our capabilities? Did I just totally screw it on, how many hours it was going to take?
Sure.
I thought it was going to take 3, and in reality, that's just like a 10-hour setup. There's no, all day long kind of thing. So yeah, coming back to process.
That's what I typically do is I'll blame it on myself, and I'm reading Extreme Ownership right now. So basically any problem anybody has, it's because I didn't do it right. I didn't train them right.
Yep.
Yeah. It's easier to approach hard discussions.
Yeah, good for you. There we go. There's another example of, building that trust, right? That's fantastic. So I'd love to talk a little bit about maybe some of your memorable experiences, both the highlights and the lowlights of, the hard things you've overcome, the parts that have just been super fun and exciting and to share.
Yeah, the hard parts definitely stick out more than the good parts, right?
Yeah, it's human nature.
Yeah, I had on the good side, I remember buying the horizontal pallet pool. think it was right before Christmas. So I had the shop to myself, and I just walked through a mess of pallets and machines all disassembled in the shop, just smiling the whole time. That's when I'm like, wow, this is a dream machine I got, a year after I started the business. It's kind of surreal.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah, it was a very, very big moment for me. Another good shop or a good day was I do quarterly poker nights in my shop. It's kind of like a networking event, kind of a just celebrate the wins type of night.
Is it just your team, or do you bring other people in?
No, I'll bring everybody in. A lot of engineers, buyers, machinists.
Oh wow!
It's really turning into a local get together. It's pretty fun. But yeah, just the first time we did it, I was with my best friends playing cards, drinking, and just looking around at the shop I'm building. So that was a surreal moment.
Yeah.
I still, every day I look around still and just take a step back, and it's all happening very quick. So I'm very, very thankful. Had a lot of support to get here. So
that's cool. Yeah. Taking a deep breath, stepping back, and just being in the moment, being present with what you built and what's happening. Some people have a hard time doing that. So good for you for doing that. Yep. That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a challenge, but it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about the hard ones? The ones that stick out so much?
Oh yeah, that's every week, I think. But I think one moment I was really regretting what I was doing. It was early on. I had one employee from the previous shop, and I think he must have called in sick or had vacation or something. So it was just me in a 4,000 square foot shop with 5 or 6 spindles around me. Good backlog of work. And I was trying to hit all these deadlines. And then parts weren't going well. And I looked behind me and there's coolant all over the floor because I forgot to turn the coolant off. And it was a madhouse. There's coolant everywhere trying to get things done, and step back and I'm like, what am I doing? Trying to do this whole thing by myself. So that's when I started looking around for some more help, and found some great guys to come on.
So that sounds like that was a moment where you realized that delegation was going to be an important part of your growth.
Yeah, that helped me get there. It was it's a lot to take on at once, for sure. Going from being an employee somewhere to trying to run a medium-sized machine shop.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, it's a brand new facility. Not everything's even moved in yet. Just very stressful. And then I was there by myself, so it was nobody to turn to when you're running the show.
Yeah, you realize every buck stops with you.
Yeah.
Yep. And I can imagine that you were, well, correct me if I'm wrong, that you were imagining your customer's disappointment when you didn't deliver your parts on time, and like what that was going to mean to that relationship.
Right.
Because that's, I know, I remember that same feeling,
Yeah. It's all sink or swim. Yeah.
Yeah. And I imagine you want to do a great job and keep them happy and stand by your word that you'll get these parts on time. And
no, absolutely.
And then questioning whether you have what it takes to do that.
Yeah, they weren't the easiest parts. It's a lot of prototype, complex parts that we have to get done. Low quantity, high margin type of stuff, and that's hard to scale too. So we're trying to get more production work in the doors to scale more shifts. But we're about 50 prototype, 50% production right now.
Okay. All right. Doing that on the same machines, or do you have certain machines kind of set aside for prototypes?
Yeah, right now it's all kind of mixed together.
Okay.
But no, that is a long-term goal. Like I believe you set up your shop is kind of have a prototype side and a production side. Yep.
Yeah. And that was one of the best moves we ever made. I understand, now that it's, with multi-pallet machines, whether it's a 5-axis or horizontals or whatever, it's actually makes it easier to like do some prototype jobs on a tombstone or on a pallet, and then you just swap out to production for night shift or weekend or whatever.
Sure.
So that makes it considerably easier to scale that. But yeah, way back in the day, we were mostly verticals or 2 pallet horizontals, and so to try to break into a production job to do a quick turn prototype job was tough.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Counterproductive. So, and then we ultimately had, half a dozen just strict prototype machinists. They did nothing but, quick turn one-off jobs.
Yep.
That were super experienced.
They're
very hard
breed.
to find those people.
Yeah. That's hard to scale. That's what we're forming now, is a bunch of prototype machinists. But yeah, it's hard to find. How'd you find 12 of them?
Well, half a dozen. So
okay.
We had about 6. Actually one of them, the very first one, his name was Brent. I think he still might work there today at True Life, that, bought our shop 10 plus years ago. He was actually like a model maker / machinist at a customer of ours. And they did big assemblies and lots of cosmetic things for some of the tech companies. And they would often outsource parts, and then they would bring them in, do all the finishing work, and put it together and deliver this big turnkey thing to their customer. And I remember we just got a call one day, and he's like, "Yeah, I've seen your parts come through our shop, and they're really beautiful parts." And
nice.
He said, they were in Seattle. He said, "I'm looking to get out of Seattle and buy some acreage, further out in the and we were like an hour and a half north of there."
Okay.
And so, yeah, he was the first guy that came up and, bought 5 acres out in the county, and then one of his coworkers from the same place came maybe a year later, 6 months later, because
nice.
he was like, "Yeah, it's pretty good up here. You should come." So that guy came.
Yeah.
And then we just found a few others. We cultivated some, that started with us, that were just super talented. And it was like a destination job in our shop. It was the highest paying in the shop, and just always doing something new and interesting and fun. So we definitely took some guys that were just setup machinists and programmers, and allowed some of them, if they wanted to move into that role.
Yeah, you have to. And I meant to touch on that, as referrals is a great way to get more hires in the door.
Yeah, but you got to treat them right to get the referrals, right?
Yeah, it's a compliment for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
If my guys are wanting other people to come, yeah, it's a big compliment.
Yeah. That's very cool. To have grown, and you didn't mention your growth percentage, but do I remember right? It's something like 70% in the last year?
Yeah, from
like
23 to 24 was 70%. I think I did the math on it. Since I started, it's 180% growth over 3 years.
That is darn impressive. Darn impressive. So if you could distill it down into your best wins, strategic moves to be able to scale like that, how would you wrap it up and summarize what you've done well?
First thing would probably go to our ERP system. Got to throw ProShop in there for sure. I got that before I even bought the shop, knowing I wanted to scale it. So just to sum that up, just be organized, get all your ducks in a row, and yeah, you have to have an ERP if you want to grow, for sure. Yeah. And my addiction, I guess you could say, to manufacturing, you have to be passionate to stick it out. It's a tough business, like you say. Yes, be passionate about what you do, and you won't work a day in your life, right?
Yeah.
And then, just a lot of support from family and friends, and other shops and shop owners in the area. It's been very helpful. Even customers too. They want to see me grow, because we both benefit. It's a mutual growth. So
yeah. Okay, that's nothing fancy about what you just said, but really solid, good advice.
Correct. Back to the basics. Yep.
Yeah, and it sounds like it. Love what you do, which you clearly do. Be a good person, so the employees want to support you, people want to support you, customers want to support you. Giving back to the industry with your poker nights, and just like being fully invested in this community that you're in and helping to build and support. And thank you for the shout out about ProShop. I definitely think that regardless of the system, having a system as sort of a foundational piece for growing a business on is, for the systems aspect of it, and the information consolidation and sharing and democratization, to use all these fancy words. I think it's just so important.
Absolutely.
I've definitely talked to 2-person companies that are like, we're already losing the details and messing things up and scrapping parts because one person didn't tell the other person something, or they wrote it down on a Post-it note and then they lost it. And
yeah, it's really hard to organize a machine shop. There's a million different things going on at once, and it's I would argue it's impossible to schedule it out. But
yeah. Well, Adam, I'd love just to wrap this up with 2 other questions, plus the requisite, how do people find out about you? But what would be your best advice to shops that are just even earlier in their journey than you are?
Honestly, just jump in and do it. I know it's easier said than done. If you're passionate about it, definitely do your homework, make connections. It really is all about connections and getting good customers.
Mm-hmm.
You get those customers, the machines will follow it pretty easy. And I think in today's day and age, if you buy something and build it, it'll save you a lot of headaches and a lot of time.
Yeah.
Buy it and build it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really just buying the customers, if anything. You can make your own processes, buy your own machines, but you have to get your foot in the door in the big customers.
Yeah. I know Mike Fritz, who I know you've listened to on this podcast, shares that same sentiment. He's bought like 6 shops now, I think, in the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mike Payne has done the same thing. He's bought 4 or 5 shops since he started. Yeah, even another guest I had recently, bought like 3 or 4 small shops too, as he was growing his. And we bought 1 small shop when we grew Pro CNC, but yeah, starting at the very beginning with buying one, especially right now with how many shops are out there and how many baby boomers want to retire, and we've got to help build those relationships between the people that want to start a shop and the people that are at the end of their shop journeys.
Yeah. I hear about it once a month, a shop going out of business, or unfortunately some health problems, and
right.
Yeah, nobody's there to take it over. So there's opportunities
tragic.
out there.
Yeah.
It
absolutely.
is.
Absolutely. Yeah. If anyone has ideas about how to elevate the visibility of those shops, both the ones that need to, that want to sell or want to close or want to have a transition, I guess that's why 3 or 4 years ago, we put on a machine shop ownership change conference with Modern Machine Shop magazine. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I did not.
It was probably pre your time. It might have been like 2019 or something, but it was like a 4-hour virtual conference that we put together with Modern Machine Shop magazine.
I should do that again.
Yeah, we should. We still have the video. Yeah, just need to elevate that to, like, if we could have it be where almost every shop didn't just go to auction or didn't close down and instead found an owner that wanted to take it over, that would just be an incredible achievement.
Yeah, I think some of that though is on the shop owner. They don't have a business to sell. It's all in their head, and that's all they can do is kind of liquidate their assets. But unfortunately,
yeah. But like you said, if there is a list of clients that that a new owner could go meet and get introduced to, and even if they're completely redoing all their processes from scratch, at least it's better than zero. Starting at zero. Right. But you're right about that. And so I guess kudos to you for understanding that even from the earliest, maybe that night where you had coolant all over the place and you're like, I need more people. I can't be the only one doing this. Decided to build your company on processes, on a foundation, on a team that ultimately will be saleable and a valuable asset for you. So good on you for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know you're a very good preparer of notes. There's some bullet points that we haven't covered. Are there any things that you want to make sure that you share and talk about before we wrap up the episode?
Yeah, I'll just say invest in automation and technology. You almost have to.
Yeah.
Or else it's not even worth getting into it. Definitely learning more of the business side than the technical side of every machinist wants to start their own shop, right? But you really have to be business minded, and you have to be a leader to pull it off. So that's what I'm trying to learn currently.
And that's with that coach. Maybe we'll take 1 minute and just talk a little bit about your decision to hire a business coach, what they do with you, how that works.
Yeah, we were growing very quickly, and my mindset was I didn't want to fumble anything. I was still literally doing everything in the shop. And I knew I was starting to manage more people coming in. I just didn't have time to do everything. And the financial burden, trying to budget out for the month, the year, buy new equipment. I was doing the old fashioned style of, is the bank account getting bigger or smaller? That's kind of my profitability indicator.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't do that anymore. So I started doing some research. Turns out my landlord, who's actually in my building, part of my building, he owns an Action Coach and just a worldwide business coaching firm.
Cool.
And I was like, well, I'll give it a try. Done it for about a year now, and it really just changes your mindset from the day to day to the bigger picture, leadership, business minds type. But I would recommend it.
So they specialize in just any kind of business?
It is. It's just look at the numbers from the big picture.
Right.
Doesn't really matter what business it is. It's all numbers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Which I was back and forth with them for a little bit. It's like, I'm in manufacturing. It's different than everybody, which it is to a certain extent, but it's all numbers on a spreadsheet. So it's all trackable and traceable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have, you probably have heard me talk about them or do things with them, Dave and Mike at EBITDA Growth Systems.
Yeah.
Exactly that, but specifically focused on machine shops, which I think is pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that more, actually.
Yeah. Sounds like you got a great thing going on, but I know they coach both on the financial side of the business and then the operations side because they know machining so well. So
sure.
Get really really actionable.
It is a different beast.
Yeah. Well, Adam, thank you so much for sharing everything. This has been really fun. Just appreciate the humility that you bring to your business and your openness to share. I know people will have a lot of good takeaways from this. So if people want to learn more about you, or if there's a machinist in Austin that's like, it sounds like a cool place to go work, where do they learn more about Zimmer?
Yeah, you can go to zimmermanufacturing.com or email me at adam@zimmermanufacturing.com.
Pretty straightforward. Awesome. Well, Adam, thank you again so much. This has been really fun. Congratulations on all your success and keep kicking ass for many years to come.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hope to do it again sometime.
All right. Cheers.
See ya.